the thoughts of feeling of that abundance in my life, where the changes are happening? My physiology is changing. So similarly, what I'm saying, whenever we are having a feeling of loss, what exactly is being happening? Our emotional brain is having that feeling of fear. And whenever we are talking about that fear is a feeling of that loss. But if we change those emotions, and if we change the antidote of it, which is exactly that the thing which you are being blessed with, our physiology and our conditions change. That's why it is said that whenever you are being in certain down state, never remain in the same state. Even in our religious teaching, it has been said, if you are being in a state of anger, you know now why they say? You change your state. If you are standing, you have to sit down. If you are sitting down, you might have to lie down. If you can drink some water, you can move around. Why it is said? Because if you will change your state, your emotion change. That's the catch over here. If you change your emotions, your state change. But if you change your state, your emotions change. That is the most important thing. Now, if I ask you, if you have been with me and if we can do it, normally you say if I'm being in a sort of state, they said, if you know the power pose, if you can stand up at your places and you just put your arms across and you just stood up like this. If I can show you, maybe on the picture you can see me. So for example, if I can just stand up like this, and if I just stand still, and if I just stay there for 2 minutes, if you want to experience that, just stay with me. Just stood up on your places and just stood there like this, and just take a deep breath with me. You will feel within 2 minutes, you are having a different feeling altogether. Even whatsoever the state you have been before, you will have a different feeling. So let's take a deep breath. Stay in that. I'm just sitting right now, but I would ask you if you can just, so that you can see me, that you just standing there, your legs are a little bit apart, and you are standing in a power posture, and you are taking a deep breath, and it has just been a matter of few seconds. And if you will carry on with that, you will feel like that even if you are being in the state of that fear, or if you are being in a state of some depression and some sort of stuff, it can instantly go away. And that is called in the terminology that the most important part, our decisions are very much dependent onto the state we have been in. That's why it is said, never take your bigger decisions while you are being in your downtime. Never take your decisions while you are being feeling angry, because this is not your rational decisions. So 2 things we have learned. Number 1, bring your emotions under control, and it is going to affect your physiology. Number 2, we are in charge of our universe. Like the meditation exercise we have done, we can bring down the frequency of our brain into that level which is more creative, more initiative. It means that the constraints are not outside, the constraints are inside. It means that there are resources are not required, rather a resourcefulness state which is required. So when you are taking the power pose, when you are working and doing some jogging and exercise, you are actually bringing yourself into the peak state. So there is no emotion in that way which can affect us, because we have the power to reverse that. Now I'm going to reflect one interesting a book I'm going to recommend for you, and this is the book which was been written in 1944. Might be you have read that. I'm going to give you the gist of some of the formulas which can actually be a fear buster for all of us. In 1944, the person named Dale Carnegie, I think is a very famous name for majority of you. You might be known that he has done a great work. He has written a book which is titled How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. And that 6 million copies of that book has been published, and I think 80-90 languages his book has been translated. Now I'm going to give you the gist of it which we can apply in our daily life, which was being the lessons extracted out of that book. And I'm going to recommend you, if you got a chance, just go through that book. This is the best book I have gone through after going through hundreds and hundreds of books, which can make your fear busted in the second. So this is something. So one of the things what he suggested, he said, live in a day-tight compartment. What does it mean? If you see the architecture of the ships at the bottom, these have a different compartments. Why these compartments are there? It means that if there is a leakage happened in one compartment, it actually stay there because the bottom of the ship has been compartmentalized so that the water just does not gush in all the ship area down the line. It actually being compartmentalized. The concept he said, when you are being compartmentalized, mean focus on today, because this is the day which is available for you. And don't be much worried about what has been happened in the past, and don't be much worried about what is going to be happen in the future, because many of the problems and the fear which are associated with that, fear of unknown, fear of losing, where it exists in the future. And many of the things, when the uncertainties came into our life, we are not been certain, oh my God, this is going to be happen. Nobody has thought about it, but Alhamdulillah, we are coping up with that. So his first advice, which I strongly recommend, is say, focus on today. I remember there was some exercise which I used to do, that we actually put that tag over there, and in that tag it was written today. So every time it captured the eyes. Second thing it said, acceptance of what it is now. Now, for example, when I say there is certain set standards in my mind, how my organization should work, how my professional life should be, what should be my standards across, and this is my reality. Now, question is, he said, accept what is happening. So, for example, if I accept, all right, now it's a new normal, and the things as we are being going through, it is going to be best in some case because we are being getting some time for ourselves and things like that. He said, when you are accepting the new norm, you are also come into the concept of where the fear element started reducing as well. Then there is a concept, he said, it is called a concept of stoicism, STOCISM. That concept, he said, that there are only two options available for us in our life. If we are being fearful about something, there is only two options. Number one option, what are the things which we can control in our life? And second is, what are the things which we cannot control in our life? So if you will list down those things and focus on the things which you can control, you have a better life altogether. Then the fear buster formula, if you can write it down, if you have a piece of paper, every time you come across any fearful situation, just ask these three questions and inshallah the fear will go away. Number one, ask this question, what exactly you are being fearful of? Write it down on the piece of paper, because when we take that fear abstract in our head, our mind is more creative, so it creates many different things which actually does not exist. But if you will bring the fear into your rational brain and ask this question, what exactly you are being fearful of, what exactly is the situation, write it down. That is question number one. Question number two, if this is a fear, what is the worst possible things can happen? What is the worst possible things can happen? Think about it. Imagine it. All right, for example, if I'm being in the job or the economy is going down and things like that, oh, what is the worst can happen? Okay, worst can happen. I'm going to lose my job, for example. Now, this is the worst. This is the worst can happen. Once you write it down, the worst, you know what happened? The third thing automatically trigger. Okay, this is the worst come worst happen. The third thing is, what action could I take now? What are the things which I can take right now? So again, I'm going to say, if you can write it down. Number one, write it down whenever you are being in a fearful state. Write it down what exactly you are being fearful of. Number one. Number two, write it down. What is the worst come worst thing can happen? Write it down sincerely over there. And once you will write it down, then you will say, what are the actions I can take right now which can actually help me out? Another important aspect is, because whenever we talk about fear is actually a loss condition. Now, if you reverse the pattern, and if you say, instead of losing, what I'm gaining, your mind will react differently. So for example, if I take the same example, okay, the economy is like this, situation is like this. All right, what is the worst come worst happen? All right, my job will not be there. Okay, I'm going to lose the comfort. I'm going to lose this. Now, question is, what is the gain I'm going to get out of that? Now, if I thought about it, I would say, all right, the one gain I'm going to get, I can go back to my country and I can spend the time with my old aged parents. Oh, that's the biggest blessing because I didn't get a chance before. Now, if this thing happened, I can get that gain. Number two, what is the gain I can get? Oh, I think I'm a bit more independent in my approach. The thing which I love to do, I can do on a massive level. That is another gain. I can get more time with my family, etc. Now, when you focus on the gains you get out of that, your mind actually dissipates that. So coming back again, if whenever you are in the stressful or fearful situation, ask these questions and you will do that. The most important aspect at the last, what I would like to highlight, my dear friends, the most important thing is whenever we look into the fear state is a loss condition. But when we talk about one of the statement I'm going to highlight with you, it said greatness is not what you take during the process. Greatness is not what you take during the process. Greatness is what you leave during the process, what you contribute during the process. So with that attitude of gratitude, if I have a sense of contribution rather than focus on what I'm getting, if I focus on what I'm giving, that gives me a feeling of abundance, that I have a lot to offer to this world. I have a lot to offer to my colleagues. So that feeling of abundance subsidize any sort of loss, any sort of scarcity for myself. So basically what it say, sometimes it say that we are fearful. We are fearful because one day we have to die. That's very interesting statement. We are fearful that one day we have to die. But don't you think that each day we are living? Each day we are living, my dear friends.